All right, guys, that was Dog with an interview providing some very cool answers there about his thought process and how he went about the games. We're going to be having Brarose versus Thijs next, and something that we overlooked is that if Thijs loses pretty badly to Brarose, then Dog advances over Thijs as well. So, pretty interesting situation right now as we get Thijs on the screen. Let me just give Kaldi the. Can you see the screen right now?
I can, yeah.
Okay, cool. Sorry, it didn't have the red border, so it didn't look like you were able to see it. Anyway, we have Thijs's decks on screen at the at the moment, and it's going to be Druid, Priest, and Warrior. Oh, I'm sorry.
Warlock.
That's
Yeah.
Brarose. I'm sorry.
So
I
it's
was looking at
Reno
the wrong
Lock.
player.
It's
Druid, Paladin,
Reno
Warlock.
Lock,
Sorry.
Reno Lock, Secret, Paladin, and the mid-range Druid. Very expected. Out of ties now, what I'm most excited to see is the Reno Warlock having 30 different cards. It's not you don't see that every day here. But yeah, both Paladin and Druid. Ty seems to have gone all out here for this last one. I mean, so bringing a power lineup for game 3, an anti-aggro lineup for game 1. I really do like that.
Yeah, definitely. So, going to be interesting to see how he's able to shut down the lineup of Brarose. And we see Brarose on the screen right there from Team Celestial. And let's take a look at his decks. He is bringing the Shaman, Priest, and Warrior. So, yeah, going to be seeing that mid-range Shaman with the Tunnel Trogs, but also the Neptulon and the Doctor Boom. So, kind of an interesting situation there. Tunnel Trogs seeming to be anti-aggro. The Priest looks like a Dragon Priest with the Sarah, kind of more in line with what we see in the West. And as far as the Warrior is concerned, it's going to be what looked like a Patron Warrior. And yeah, going to be interesting to see how these decks match up against each other. Who do you favor in this situation?
I think I have to favor Thijs. It seems that just based on the decks, at least, Thijs has the powerhouse for game number 3, whereas Braro seems to have kind of the leftovers, I want to say, or so far as to say. I mean, the Dragon Priest and the mid-range Shaman don't really work together particularly well, whereas something like Dragon Priest and Freeze Mage work very well together, in Conquest at least. Looking at the Dragon Priest from Brarose, the strange thing was that he actually has one Pyromancer and he has Pain, something we don't see generally. He had Sylvanas over Boom or Tilma, which is something that's also uncommon here in the West. Also, only one Valence chosen.
Mm-hmm.
So
wow, I
this
did
is
not
going to be
notice that. Yeah, that's pretty unusual. Valence Chosen, such a powerful card in that deck. It looks like we are going to be getting into game number 1. Just a reminder, everyone, I do believe that if Brarose wins 3-1, then Thijs is out, and Dog and
so.
Brarose are in. So it will be very important for Thijs to pick up at least 2 victories in this series as we get onto our first game. It's going to be mid-range Druid versus the Patron Warrior. Good start for Brarose. This is a favorite matchup, and he even has that Fireworks to kill off this Darnassus.
Just to talk a bit about the current situation. So Dog is basically right now at +2, or +1 in map score. Sorry. So his map score is plus. Wait.
Oh, he went 3-2, 2-3, and now 3-1, so he's +2. Yeah.
3-1. Okay, +2 then. Yeah. +2. Thijs is +2 as well,
Right.
and Brarose is on 0.
Yeah.
So wait.
So
Now
if Brarose
yeah,
goes
yeah.
3-1, then he's +2 along with Dog, and he's through, and that would make Thijs be even. So then Thijs
0.
does not go through. So
Absolutely.
basically, and if Brarose wins 3-2, then he would be +1, and then Thijs would be +1 as well. So then Thijs and Dog goes 3. So Brarose has to win this 3-1.
Wait, are you sure that if
Oh, sorry,
Brarose wins
sorry.
3-1, if Brarose wins 3-1,
Mhm.
wouldn't Thijs and Brarose be tied? I think then they would both be at +1.
Brarose would be no. Brarose wins 3-1. He is
+2 actually, yeah,
+2.
+2.
Right. He's +2.
But wait. If it's 3-2 for Brarose, then Brarose is +1, and Thijs is +1.
So
If Brarose wins 3-2, it's a tie, and then we actually have a coin toss, I believe.
I think there are more tiebreakers before it gets to that point. And since it's only since it's only a 2-way tie, I think Brarose wins because It goes to head to head.
The head to head. Okay, I see. So
Anyway, let's talk about
Brarose,
this game. We can maybe get to that between the games, but yeah, the Paladin Shredder coming down. Brarose kills it with the Despite. He does have an amazing hand with that with the Grim Patron and the Inner Rage, but doesn't like to see that Totem Golem come out in this situation. And let's see how Thijs responds against this. He could play the Druid of the Claw, which wouldn't die to the Despite, but he could also go for the Loatheb, which shuts down the Inner Rage.
now generally you don't keep the patron unless you have a Deathbed in hand already. Brarose went for kind of a risky position to go for the Grim Patron already. He's gonna be rewarded because he did half deck both the Inner Rage and the Despot. So if Thijs ends up going for the Druid of the Claw, it's looking pretty rough. Or potentially the Keeper of the Grove. Depends how he's gonna go about this. Okay, so he does charge this up. A Whirlwind, yeah, would be devastating, like the Chinese stream is showing here. Not sure what he is actually going for. He may just have to go for the patron board here. But just to talk about it, okay, so the situation is the map score doesn't matter at this point. If Thijs wins, Thijs goes through. If Brarose wins, then Brarose goes through.
Right.
Even if it's a 3-2,
Oh, okay.
doesn't matter. So it's just who wins this match.
Right. So yeah, everything is on the line here. Dog is through. It's still up in the air whether or not he finishes first or second place, but whoever wins this match will advance. So very, very important. And Brarose has a huge decision on his hands right here. I mean, usually you just go for the patrons, but if you do that, then his board is going to get completely cleared.
It sure is here. I mean, the force nature on top of that. So this is actually looking even. I think in this case, though, we may actually just have to go for the patron board and be happy about that. Because, I mean, if you go for Loatheb and Thijs ends up fading into the Loatheb, what can he do with the Despite? Taunt just messes it up. Maybe his idea is to coin out the Battle Edge on top of it next turn, but I don't know.
Right. Yeah, definitely tough situation for both players here. Thijs, I mean, he has a decision whether or not to go for the Azure Drake, which could hurt him in the long run. Loatheb could shut down everything that Brarose is trying to do. And, yeah, I mean, I imagine Thijs might just leave this Loatheb alone since it's not the greatest trade for Thijs anyway. But yeah, does go for the Loatheb, and I think, yeah, looks like he's just going to go face here. Put a lot of pressure on Brarose and potentially just be able to kill him with the combo if he picks up Innervate or if he's able to keep the pressure up.
Now, this may be a bit excessive, but is there any way for Thijs not to die here? No, for Brarose not to die here. I mean, let's look at Fiery War Axe, Hero Power. Kills the Druid of the Claw and the Totem Golem. He goes down to...
this is so painful, you're right. Yeah, he needs to go to these drastic measures and just throw away any potential for having the Grim Patron on board. And this is the advantage of being so aggressive. Obviously, Thijs not worrying about this Loatheb, just attacking the face, and this makes it so that Brarose has to be so defensive here, or else he's just dead.
Yeah, if Brarose doesn't go for Fiery War Axe, Hero Power, then he's just dead. And if he goes for Fiery War Axe, Hero Power, he has 1 health remaining.
Yeah, it's such a horrible spot to be in here as Brarose.
Oof.
Yeah, he's going to have to clear here. Hero powers before he attacks, but not going to matter too much because obviously there's usually not Steel Simon here. So what does Thijs pick up? Picks up a Wrath. Can continue the aggression with it. Azure Drake doesn't have lethal right now. 1 damage obviously with that force nature. But yeah, this is so much pressure on Brarose, and typically this is a favored matchup for the Patron. It actually got more favored after the nerf to Warsong Commander because that card usually wasn't the greatest in this situation. But so, yeah, again, so much pressure on Brarose, and I don't think he can get out of this one.
That is true, yeah. There is a downside to using the weapons for removal. Your health does go down, and you can get punished. Execute is strong here, but let's look at the scenario. Okay, so he's taking 7 from the... Actually, it's 8 from...
I think he needs a second execute, right? I think he needs a second execute, right? He needs to slam and then execute both, just to stay alive.
With the hero power, though, he's going to be at 8 health, and Druid the Claw Savage Roar is 8.
Oh, yeah.
So wait, okay, slam into the Azure Drake, shield block,
if he has it in his deck, right? Yeah, so that's almost. I'm pretty sure that's it. I don't think Brarose can do anything to get out of the situation. He's quite nearly dead on board as it is, and yeah, it's probably going to just be a Frothing Berserker coin hero power, and after he kills his Drake. That's going to be it. A simple Drew the Claw will kill him. Basically, every single card in Thijs' hand kills him right now. And that's going to be game 1 going to Thijs' Druid.
It's 2 here, yeah. Well played to Thijs. Honestly, Brarose just had a rough start here.
Yeah, pretty tough.
Thijs, I think, navigated this beautifully, and he had exactly what he needed. So, game 1 going to Thijs. I mean, if you look at the lineup, though, Thijs is favored in the lineup and gets the better start. Has Secret Paladin and Reno Lock left. I feel like Secret Paladin, it's almost impossible not to draw a good hand at least once.
Right. Yeah, it's going to be, like you said, difficult for Thijs to lose, especially given his usually impeccable decision-making. We saw that decision-making on hand at the World Championships as well in his stellar run there. And yeah, going to be a super uphill battle for Brarose. Definitely the underdog when it comes to stature. And looking at these deck lineups, going to be the underdog in that field as well. So let's see how Brarose can maybe recover, maybe get back into this match. But yeah, definitely feeling the pressure right now with his Shaman, Priest, and Warrior.
Absolutely here.
All right, so let's kind of review these decks, I suppose, while we're waiting for Brarose to maybe select one. Thijs does have the Secret Paladin, does have the Reno Warlock. Brarose we just saw there with the Patron Warrior. Looks like we are getting to the game, and this looks like yet another unfavored matchup for Brarose.
Absolutely. Have you played the Reno Warlock? I have to say I haven't. I played a lot against it, but it seems hard to play against even, because you actually play on the Molten Giant when there's only one Molten Giant. I feel like Secret Paladin is favored against Reno Lock if you play passively, if you don't overextend.
Mm-hmm.
But there's just so much combat potential for the Reno Lock, and you start generally slightly behind. You maybe have a 1-drop and a 3-drop, tapping in between. Then it gets kind of awkward in the mid game with maybe Fugan and maybe Nostalg, and then it goes to something like Boom or the second Zombie Brother there.
Yeah, Fugan and Stalag, yeah. But yeah, I mean, the obvious weakness for the Reno Warlock is that obviously you're running one of every single card, so it's not as consistent. Obviously, you kind of double up on the same effect. We saw the Demon Wrath in the hand of Thijs, and most likely running Shadow Flame and Hellfire as well. Sometimes you even run Twisting Nether, but yeah, I would imagine that would be the weakness of the deck. So maybe you just prey on the fact that they don't draw their answers for you, and you can kind of commit all in if you're Brarose. But this is definitely an unfavored matchup. Thijs has the Shadow Flame and the Hellfire to potentially deal, or not in hand, but in the deck to potentially deal with Brarose's board full of patrons. Has all of the removal as well, and Brarose can just start right off, just hitting the face with the Fire Oryx, realizing he needs that damage.
Yeah, he is in a hurry, that's for sure. But talk briefly about Fugan and Stalag. Now,
yeah, Fugan and Stalag is absolutely just so powerful. Sorry, or you were going to talk about it. I'm sorry, go ahead.
I guess what I was going to talk about is how do you know which one of them is Fugan and which one of them is Stalag, and which one of them has 7 attack and which one of them has 4 attack. Well, and now, actually, how it goes is you take the first letter in the name of the minion, and the first letter of the attack, and those 2 match. So, F Fugan.
F Fugan, S Stalag,
and
7 Stalag.
Stalag 7, yeah.
Fugans. Yeah, you also have to remember that it corresponds to the attack damage and not, or the attack number, not the health number, which is
absolutely
hard to remember. But yeah, in any case, Thijs looking to be in an okay spot. I imagine he wants to pick up the AoE removal as quickly as possible. But if he puts on the pressure, then maybe it's difficult for Brarose to get the patrons on the board or have the time to be able to do that. But Brarose does have 2 of the 3 pieces that he could potentially need with that Deathbite and the Inner Rage. So just needs that patron to be able to maybe make a game of this.
Yeah, I mean, Thijs is definitely banking on Brarose using a Shredder here. I mean, he was, what he's going to go for now is he was kind of looked to me like he was expecting to be able to silence something.
Right, yeah. He was thinking maybe he could silence the Shredder coming out, but the most common answer to that Inking boss, speaking of the warrior, is that Despite deals with the first body and deals with the imp that come out with the following attack, obviously. Brarose unable to pick up that Grim Patron, which would have been huge here because we see in Thijs' hand he has nothing to deal with it other than those two silences. As for this turn, Thijs has the ability to play. I think that was a Fugan. He's getting too small for me to look at the moment, but unlikely to see a heal bot. Everything else is kind of just awkward, so yeah, it looks like he is going to play out that card, be it Fugan or Stalag.
I think it's Stalag.
I think it's Stalag, okay. Stalag is obviously a lot weaker in this situation because Brarose can just take it out with his Despite. And it is Stalag, right? So Thijs is going to attack him with this 1-1, realizing that it's likely going to die to this Despite. But yeah, this is kind of the reason why people don't prefer this card in the first place, because Fugan by itself is pretty good, 4-7 for 5, but having to play Stalag as well to get the full value is pretty painful. Don't really want a 7-4, you're basically just paying for a salty dog. And eventually, Thaddeus could get BGH as well. So it's nice in this deck, especially because you're forced to run 1-ofs. In this situation can be pretty powerful, especially because the BGH can only take out one target, and you have the Doctor Boom to be able to contest as well. So
sorry to cut you off there, but I mean, if he was going to kill the Fugan, you would want to attack with the Belcher into the Fugan, and then use the Despot to kill the Flame Imp to take less damage. But I don't really know what his plan is here. Okay, he's going to delay one turn, but it just gives him more chances to draw the AoE. I guess his idea is, okay, I'll use my patron on the same turn as Battle Rage, so at least get minions back. But I feel like next turn has to be it. Okay, if he doesn't have a Mortal Coil, you can trade into something else on top of killing Fugan.
Yeah, I suppose Brarose is being pretty greedy here, wanting that Stalag to trade into this Belcher, and then from there he can kill off the 7-1 Stalag with his Despite, and also benefit from having this patron. So it looks like he's being pretty greedy here. And he can also get the Battle Rage as well, so I think that's what Brarose is thinking about. He's giving Thijs more time to draw into that AoE though, but as it is now, Brarose is in as good a position as you can hope for in this matchup.
I think so, yeah, everything's been going right for him, but he's still not in a commanding lead. There's less burst. I think the old patron would just demolish the Reno lock, but yeah, this is a different time and a different meta.
Right, exactly. And let's see what Brarose does here. He could just go for a pretty risky play by killing off the Sylvanas here and using a Sludge Belcher as well. Could go for a lot of cards in the meantime with that patron. So what do you go for here? I mean, could be just, the Sludge Belcher into the Stalag and then play the patron, then Inner Rage, then use Battle Rage after you use your Death Bite. Hopefully the Sylvanas doesn't take anything great, but looks like he's going to go for this play and play it conservative. Doesn't want Sylvanas to take anything great here, but it is going to mean that he won't be able to kill the Stalag off with his Despite.
I don't get this though. Why wouldn't you use a Despite? And if you're going to use your Despite, use it on the 7-4, and
Right.
basically trade. What could have done is trade the Belcher into the Fugan and go face with the weapon.
Right.
That way both minions die and you don't take any damage. So it looks to be a better play.
Right, yeah. I guess he wanted to use his Despite with the patrons, and he just really didn't want to get a patron stolen by Sylvanas, so went for that play. Got a bit punished, though, when the opponent stole a taunt minion. Wasn't expecting a taunt minion out of that Shredder, and was going for the 50-50 that it wouldn't steal the slime. But in the end, is able to get a pretty decent board, and Thijs, crucially, does not have any AoE in hand at all.
What he does have though is time, and he could easily just tap here and or double silence even. He could, I think tap and heal, but is what I like here out of these options.
Yeah, he has a little bit of time, but we do see that there's plenty of damage on the field right now. 14 damage just from those patrons, and we could see a Grom Inner Rage next turn if Brarose is able to pick that up. And Thijs just saw Brarose draw a lot of cards as well, so he could be fearing that. We see him kind of shaking his head, wondering what to do here. and could go for a greedy play, could go for the safe play, which would be, I suppose, a bunch of silences. Looks like it's going to be the implosion just to get some damage off the board, followed by a silence, and only leaving the 3-2 on board.
No, so Thijs playing for the long game here. Oof. There are options. He could get a lot of armor, but in terms of clearing this, though, what can he really do?
For
I do like
Brarose,
I do like the at least the idea of leaving an unstable goal. If you're gonna go for an unstable goal, you just couldn't go full on face then.
wow. Yeah,
All
this
right.
is really interesting. Looks like he's going to trade the 5-1 in so that it doesn't die to any of the 1-1s on board, but going to spawn more patrons with his 3-2. Does he commit to the inner rage cruise,
I think he
which is really
should.
important?
I think he really should.
Yeah, he could have
Why
actually
not?
gone for a couple of patrons by going inner rage plus a taskmaster, but hope maybe saving that for the Grom potentially that he could pick up. Maybe think that that's his only way to come back in this game. Ties with
I
another
mean,
difficult decision with no AoE once more.
you throw one out there though. You throw the inner rage out. You have the Grom potential later on.
Right.
I mean, a 5-2 for 0 mana is not bad.
Yeah, definitely could have been, an option for Brarose, but doesn't go for it. Thijs, he doesn't know what to do here. Has the BGH for the Doctor Boom, but definitely under a lot of pressure. A Grom at any point would kill him if this board stays this way, but looks like he's gonna finally kill off the last of these patrons, at least the ones that are capable of being spawned. And we will see if he commits to any sort of healing. Looks like, oh, obviously you can't. Now that he's gone for this. My mistake. Goes for the BGH, and now a Grom would be lethal. Yeah, Grom would have been lethal there.
That is true, yeah, but he can't play around everything, and Thijs is choosing exactly what he wants to play around. Bomb goes down. Gets a hit for 4. Pretty decent. Drops the Shredder. I really like this. He's not playing on the Molten, and I think that's good. But I guess to talk a bit about why I would have gone for the Enrage last turn is that it's been heavily indicated to Brarose that Thijs doesn't have AoE. He had a turn there with a 7-1, which he could have exploded. He could have gone for Hellfire, but he just chose to do nothing of the sort and not AoEing. So I think, yeah, it could be safe to say that Brarose should have known that there was no AoE. And in that case, I think the Enrage is playable.
Yeah, potentially maybe playing around the top deck here. Let's see how greedy Thijs can play it this turn. Looks like he's going to go for the silence onto this Frothing Berserker. Obviously already used the Owl earlier. And going to put that Sludge Belcher up. Really mana-efficient turn, but we'll see what Brarose can come up with here. Doesn't pick up the Grom. Yeah, it was lethal if he did pick up Grom that turn. So Thijs kind of playing super greedy here. Doesn't want to make any weak plays, even though he could be dead at any moment. Brarose going for the inner rage there rather than the Taskmaster is pretty interesting. He does pick up the Slam, which is nice for him. We'll be able to trade much more cleanly into this Belcher. Picks up the Whirlwind as well, but that doesn't really help him too much in this situation. And let's see how aggressive Brarose can be. Currently, he has a pretty decent amount of damage to face. The most he could do now, I believe, is 9 to face.
Mm-hmm.
And that's pretty
true.
powerful. Yeah, if he were to, yeah, he could attack his Frothing Berserker and use his Cruel Task and get a lot of damage, but likely going to just save his. Oh, he's going to actually trade in just to prevent any sort of Shadow Flame shenanigans. And this is looking actually really good for Brarose, though. Thijs can play that Reno Jackson at any time.
The one AoE and things turn around completely. I think Reno may have to come down here. Obviously, he would tap first. Hellfire, he can Reno Hellfire. Wow.
Wow. Hellfire Reno would be pretty huge here. Would leave behind a 2-drop and a 1/1 Armor Smith, but yeah, I think you absolutely have to go for it here. This is pretty devastating for Brarose to see this. Let's see his reaction once the Reno comes down.
I bet there's going to be no reaction. Oh, he's not happy about that.
Yeah,
Not happy at
pretty
all.
big reaction that we saw there. He was not happy about that situation, and he can, maybe start developing more patrons here if he so desires.
Mm-hmm.
Can go for the patron plus the Cruel Taskmaster and the Whirlwind, since he just saw a Hellfire, and there were so many situations where Thijs could have used the Hellfire or some sort of AoE earlier on. So Brarose obviously knows that that was a top deck, but he knows that there's no additional AoE in the hand of Thijs. So yeah, gonna just fill up this board right away again, and Thijs can't be too happy about this as you see him look toward the ceiling.
Yeah, I think it's important for him to keep in mind that he's still ahead, and Thijs still needs the second AoE. If the second AoE shows up, it's lights out, but this at least was a big step for Thijs to climb back into this game.
Yeah, definitely. It looks like Brarose is going to commit to that execute. Doesn't want any minions on board to be able to compete with his Grim Patrons. And yeah, Thijs obviously was a huge turn last turn, but don't count out Brarose just yet. That Grim Patron top deck was absolutely huge, and now he has a commanding board lead once again.
White Walker not what he wants to see, but Healbot does seem even unnecessary at this point. He can't really go for the Jiraxa, so he needs a top deck. Oh, and a mind control tech.
You see kind of a funny look on Thijs' face, thinking, this could do something. We will see what it steals here. Takes a 3-2, which is probably the third best minion on the field that he could have taken here. Looks like he's going to go for the Healbot. Not because he needs the heal that much, but wants to go for the more expensive minion in the situation instead of going for the Farseer, which can be used much more cheaply later. Whirlwind is pretty big here, though.
I think, yeah, Thijs is just happy that he didn't steal the Cruel Taskmaster. He's just gonna let that be enough.
Wow. So, I think Brarose is gonna go all in here and just play the Whirlwind. It's so much pressure.
Am I crazy enough? But I think he's been actually more aggressive, Brarose. I mean, it looked like he was playing around Shadow Flame, but the idea of Thijs having Shadow Flame and not being able to pop the board, I think is unlikely. Also, I don't know. I think I like the Whirlwind here more as well because it sets up for lethal, whereas this doesn't set up for lethal.
Yeah, definitely is a consideration to make for going for that Whirlwind rather than going for the Unseeable Goal here. Thijs with Immortal Coil can potentially draw it into something, but he's running out of options. How many cards does he possibly have left? Obviously looking for that Shadow Flame here. And picks up a Twilight Drake, not going to be good enough. Although he doesn't see that much damage on board at the moment. So it's currently only 11. So can continue to tap and gets a Demon Wrath, which doesn't help too much. I mean, there's a weird strategy where if your opponent's board is too big, then maybe you could go for Demon Wrath and, you know, kind of force the patrons not to really work too well. But yeah, not going to be available or not going to be useful right now. Just going to play the Farseer and the Twilight Drake right now.
I mean, he can clear everything and get a huge board. Maybe save the Whirlwind, go for Armorsmith and double Whirlwind with the Whirlwind effects, not the actual spell. Give him a full board. There is a Thalnos, I believe, though. Yeah, there's a Thalnos. A Thalnos would be enough. Shadow Flame would be enough.
Oh, right. Yeah, Thalnos would be something that could help Thijs immensely here. And just Thijs essentially just holding on. Other than this Jiraxis, has no healing available, I believe. Maybe he has the Refreshment Vendor. But, yeah.
Ah, he missed it. Ah.
I'm sorry?
I feel like he should have gone for the Ghoul. I don't know.
Oh, right.
Maybe this is... no, man. This is stronger. No, man.
Yeah, if he goes for the Ghoul, it could be weak to that Demon Wrath. And Brarose potentially knows that that's in the deck.
I think it's more about it's more about the pressure because they would leave him with a full board, whereas this doesn't really. Anyhow, he's gonna tap. Yeah, he kind of has to tap.
Siphon Soul is a bit of a help here. I mean, he can Siphon Soul plus Dark Bomb. However, he has not seen Gromish, so that could be an issue. He's already seen Dr. Boom. That's probably the second largest minion he's going to see other than Grom. And does he commit to this Dark Bomb and Siphon Soul?
Exactly, yeah. But I mean, I think he has to. There's only one patron left then, but he could turn those patrons. Actually, wait. He couldn't really pop his own Ghoul.
Right.
With the current board position, so he would have a 3-1 and a 3-3 out of the Whirlwind.
He's committing to the Demon Wrath. What would the Demon Wrath accomplish? It would make a bigger board, I believe. It makes two 3-3s out of here, and then he still leaves 2 3-1s on the board. Now he's going to play a Dark Bomb. Oh, because of the, well, the,
This is a mistake, I think, isn't
yeah,
it?
it's gonna make a bigger board, it looks like.
Huh.
That was a bit bizarre.
Yeah,
And even
and
doesn't, yeah,
he
doesn't,
kills
he,
the two health one.
yeah, because he didn't have time. He started roping, and the patrons weren't spawning quick enough, so he had to go for the 3-2 rather than the 3-3. And now Brarose actually has a bigger board, at least as far as the patrons are concerned, bigger board than earlier. And Thijs is in a lot of trouble.
I mean, let's consider if we just killed the two with the siphon and the dark bomb. There's only one patron left with two health. The
Yeah,
ghoul and the armor smith. He's not taking that much damage. I think he may have just been able to go for Jiraxis and taken this slow
I
way
think
through
he,
this.
yeah, I think he needs to finally go for Jiraxis here. If he siphons souls, he goes up to 11, and there's 9 on board, but it's you're basically hoping to draw something crazy from there. So I think he finally has to go for Jiraxis here.
And he
And
kills one of them, and he kills one. There's three left. He's taking 9 damage, going down to 3 health. No life tap left though. Uh, it's possible. I mean, a taunt would help him out. I think the Sunfury hasn't been played yet.
this game has gone on so long that Brarose has somehow managed to accumulate 25 armor as a patron warrior with no shield block. This is actually just insane. Brarose is gonna change his mind and draw a card here, and gonna obviously pick up some more patrons as well. Thijs is gonna need a miracle to get out of this one. Um, just gonna have to draw Shadow Flame right now, I think, or else he's just dead.
Hmm. Yeah, that's true.
So, one card. We see it on the screen there, that graphic. Thijs needs Shadow Flame or else he's lost this game. And that is Shadow Flame! Oh my goodness! What is this game? Thijs has been waiting the entire game for that card and finally picks it up. He has to go for it. Siphon Soul will not save him, and he needs to play the Infernal in order to get rid of it. Or no, to use the Shadow Flame, excuse me. And he's still alive. However, one Gromish top deck will give Brarose the win. Can he pick it up? He's drawn a lot of cards himself. And there it is.
Gromas, oh wow.
One good top deck deserves another, and Brarose, after a grueling game, will take the game and tie up the series 1-1. Feels like we've already played 4 games. I don't know about you, Caldy. That was insane.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, that was one game, probably over half an hour. That's one game.
Wow.
Oof.
And I mean, the crazy thing was there were so many options every single turn. It wasn't like a life co situation where you're thinking about turns and maybe overthinking it potentially. Every single turn there was really nail biting and required all the thought from both players. So it was organically long, I would put it. But yeah, really strenuous and really stressful game there. We are tied 1-1, as strange as it sounds, even though so much has happened thus far. And we are down to Brarose's Shaman and Priest and Thijs's Paladin and Warlock to see who will go to that final 8. See an exhale after that one. Okay.
Don't blame you here. Yeah, so we have Dragon Priest against Reno Lock. I think this is actually very even. It depends on how the Warlock draws. Obviously, with 30 different cards, it's going to be very, very tough for him. But I mean, Shadow Flame can do wonders. I feel like the Priest has to be a little bit conservative. You can't commit to a 5-6 million board. Just get Shadow Flame, because if that happens once, you're just out of it. As it will be if the Priest can shirk down the Warlock before it goes on too long.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. It will be imperative for Brarose to gain a board here and put on that pressure. Even if, as we see the draw for the Stark Peddler, what would you go over here? The Powerful Element can be helpful with that Shadow Flame. The Corsair not going to be doing too much, whereas the Blood Imp can help your board stay alive.
I think it has to be the power warming. I think this is not an automatic choice, but I feel like he's gonna have to go with the power warming in the end. I mean, he could even just like go for a huge trade with power warming and silence it, but he goes for the blood imp. Interesting.
Yeah, it looks like he values that health more than anything. Braro's going to get a pretty good trade onto this Dark Peddler. And yeah, just speaking of this matchup, I mean, Brarose might be afraid of some sort of, you know, Shadow Flame later on in the game, but it does require a big enough minion to get rid of what Brarose has on board. And typically the Dragon Priest runs pretty healthy minions, so that might be a difficult task for Thijs to be able to clear if Brarose is able to get enough momentum. On the other hand, if Brarose is able to do that, then Thijs, even if he plays Reno Jackson and there's a lot of damage on the board from the Priest, it's not going to be too useful. As we do see the Hellfire come into the hand of Thijs, not going to be very useful right now. Neither is really any other card in this deck, or in his hand, excuse me. The Spellbreaker, not really useful until you see something like a Valence Chosen, but gonna just play it here for tempo. I mean, it does get a little bit of value here, but the more important thing, I suppose, is it can test the board, and it does have the Big Game Hunter if something gets too big, and potentially the Owl in his deck as well for something that gets buffed up.
Yeah, 4-3 is always tough for a Priest to deal with. Sweater has been the bane of the Priest's existence. I mean, we had historically stuff like turn Chilwyn Jerry was what people really lost to. But I don't know, he's going to have to just give this 2-1 away here. Throwing both the Worm Crest into it, I can't see another scenario working out. He's going to heal it?
Oh, that's very interesting. I suppose his hand wasn't too powerful right here, but you're going to just throw away that guy just for some card draw. Rip Wormrest Agent. And Thijs right now has, again, the ability to go for that Hellfire. Would clear his own minion. But, yeah, interesting to see what he goes for. Could also go for the Sludge Belcher, which obviously there isn't a very good trade for those Northshire Clerics. So I imagine it's going to be the Sludge Belcher in the end.
I think to mention, though, is, yeah, like, there's a potential for something like Valence, and then he gets 2 more cards, but I don't know if Thijs actually wants to play around that. Hellfire seems to be too much to go for around this early in the game, but I like Thijs' position. I mean, he's at 26 health, he's got a bigger hand. Brarose isn't really accomplishing much. I mean, he had the coin, so Thijs now knows that there's going to be no, Twilight Guardian. He knows that there's going to be no Black and Corrupted, for example.
Right. And one thing to keep in mind is that Brarose could have used Valence Chosen if he had it in hand to clear up the Spellbreaker the turn earlier. Could have made a 3/8 Wormrest Agent out of the one that was already nerfed and gotten a good trade there. So Thijs knows that unless Brarose top-decked it in the last 3 draws, that he doesn't have that quite in hand yet. But looks like Brarose really favoring that card draw, thinking about just even healing the Spellbreaker once more. Not liking his hand at the moment, apparently. And
I mean, this is something that maybe a Control Priest wants to do, but
yeah,
I don't know. If you're running Dragon Priest, you want to be playing a Zoo style, not a Control style, especially against a greedy deck than you are playing.
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, Brarose playing this extremely slow, but getting a lot of cards out of it. However, these are the last cards that he can essentially draw if Thijs is able to deal with these Northshire Clerics. Everything after this is basically just cycle with the Power Word Shield and the Azure Drakes. So we will see what Thijs decides to go with here. He could clear the board by throwing his Spellbreaker in and using the Hellfire, but if he does that, it would most likely just be a tap afterward. The excuse me, the Defender of Argus doesn't really help too much, and Sylvanas could be an option as well, just to provide some tension, but the way Brarose is going, he might use that as an opportunity to draw more cards. Looks like after you see this tap, we might just see the Hellfire here.
Wouldn't mind that, yeah, but I think maybe he wants to wait a little bit longer. This is going on for so long, but the thing is, in the late game, now, generally the Priest only has two huge minions. Generally, either a Chillwing, a Sylvanas, or Dr. Boom is the first one, and the second one is generally always a Sarah. And now,
wow, this is a very big card actually, getting that Powered Shield, because he's able to buff up his Northshire Cleric to get out of range and draw a card while he clears the board with Holy Nova.
But to talk about it, yeah, the answer to Isera generally is execute, but there's another big one here for the Reno lock, and that's Siphon Soul. So I feel if it goes to the late game, Thijs against these two, which in this case is going to be the Sylvanas and the Isera. Thijs has Sylvanas, Dr. Boom, Jiraxis. At least, he has the Shadow Flame, which is also huge. So I feel like he'll just have the advantage.
Yeah, absolutely. Has the bigger minions in the end. The one thing going for Brarose is his deck is a bit more consistent, and he has drawn plenty of cards to be able to fuel him throughout this game. As you can see, his hand is pretty full. I mean, if you think about it, obviously he was playing more of a control priest style, going for more of those card draws. But in the end, it might help fuel him throughout this game. Particularly because if you go too all in the early game and your opponent uses the Reno, then you might not have enough fuel to finish out the game and kill your opponent. But now his hand is looking pretty daunting, especially if you're looking from Thijs' point of view. So many things for Brarose to be able to do now. However, this Sylvanas is definitely causing him problems.
It sure is. I think he may even have to give his stuff to the North Shore and go for the death here.
Yeah,
It's not pretty, but it's
Yeah, definitely I was thinking about that too. Just don't need that North Star Cleric anymore. He's drawn plenty of cards already. But he's just going to go for a bit of a greedy play. Steal that slime and hit the face. Thijs, on the other hand, he just a bunch of, disparate options that he can go for, none of which are too appealing. Doesn't really need to heal quite yet. Defender of Argus doesn't really do too much here. Sylvanas is kind of already a threat, as is Hellfire. Again, not much of an option here, so I imagine he's just going to tap.
wouldn't blame him for going with that. I mean, Reno Jackson still hasn't been played, but on the follow-up though, I think he could maybe go for the Earthen Ring. That seems playable. I don't know if he actually wants to go ahead and trade, but
Yeah, maybe you kill the slime and then you Earthen Ring your Sylvanas just to make it so that I mean you draw your opponent a card, but it just makes it more annoying to deal with if you're Brarose.
maybe. I think I would prefer. Okay, so he's going for the Hellfire. What's the follow-up to that?
Oh, he can draw himself a card here using the
Okay.
Earthen Ring, which is kind of
That's
nice.
really, really smart. Yeah.
Yeah, gets to draw that card
Ooh.
without having to use the tab. So yeah, he can develop a minion and go for that at the same time. In the end, he didn't have many other options, so I definitely can't blame him for going for this. It was okay, but everything else was just subpar.
Now he has the option to use the Black Encryptor. I mean, it kind of has to come down here. Wonder if he's gonna go for the Zombicho saves the Zombicho. All right, all right.
I mean, Thijs doesn't really have the opportunity to draw any more cards with his North Shire Cleric, so I think I would have been fine with just going for the Zombie Chow there. It's not like it matters too much. It doesn't really lose to the North Shire Cleric. It's more of an even battle.
Now,
Thijs-
can Thijs actually go for just Jiraxis here? That's what I want to know.
Ooh, that is a good point that you make there. Could just go for Jirax and start spitting out those 6/6s, which would be obviously extremely powerful. Looks like he's gonna favor going for the Molten before he commits to that.
My idea is yes, he has double taunt,
Mhm.
and he also has the heal bar to follow it up. Has the Siphon Soul for this era, so what is he really looking to draw into other than Reno? I don't know. I mean, if you can get away with it, you generally want to go
Yeah.
for only against Priest. This is the only matchup where you can really go for something like that.
Yeah, Jiraxis itself can single-handedly win you the Priest matchup, and like you said, he does have those options to deal with an opponent's board. Perhaps he was looking for something like Shadow Flame to be able to get that AoE off in case Brarose has a pretty big board. But yeah, as it stands, it does go for the Molten Giant, and Brarose does have the Shadow Word Death for it, so it looks like Brarose is taking a bit of a lead. And this is exactly the reason why you go for Jiraxis in that situation. I mean, obviously Thijs made a pretty decent play there, maybe baiting out the death, for instance, but in this case, now Brarose has committed to the board, and now you cannot definitely go for Jiraxis because there's way too much damage.
Gotta agree with you there, but what does he go for now, though? Yeah, like he had the opportunity last turn to go for Jiraxis. Shadow Flame is what he needs. Voidwalker doesn't do it. He may need to tap heal, but possibly here, but it's not ideal.
Right. And you definitely don't want to be using that Siphon Soul before Ysera comes down. Having to silence it with an Owl is just really painful. That 412 can get extremely good trades down the line if you go for that route. So yeah, a bunch of just kind of tech cards in the hand of Thijs right now, healing, taunts, what have you, and actually is going to go for the Jiraxis. This is kind of crazy considering he could have gone for it last turn, but maybe realizing his mistake, realizing that that's something he should have gone for, and this lone Void Walker going to be standing in the way of Brarose's victory potentially.
So with Holy Nova,
is that lethal? 4 damage.
It's lethal, yeah.
It is
exactly
lethal. That is exactly lethal with the extra damage from the Holy Nova. And Brarose is going to take that game, going to go up 2-1, and Thijs is in danger of not advancing to the final 8.
Absolutely, yeah. Well done to Brarose. I mean, this is what he needed in this series. Winning a heavily unfavored matchup, I would have thought. But Thijs just didn't draw Fugen, he didn't draw Stalag, he didn't draw Shadow Flame, he didn't draw Dr. Boom. And those are cards you need, the mid-game minions to pull through. He had the heal, but he didn't have the Reno. He had the taunts, but those just came a bit late. I think he could have gotten away with Jiraxis last time, but this was a bit ambitious. He may have wanted to. I felt it was either going to be going for Jiraxis on the turn where he had 5/3 only on board, or basically heal until he get the Shadow Flame. But Thijs kind of went middle of the way. I don't blame him though. He played it well.
Up until that point.
But now, now though, Brarose has to win a game with the Shaman.
Yeah, this is going to be the question, right? Can Brarose complete the upset over Thijs? This would be, I think, the biggest upset of the tournament, especially considering that Thijs has a pretty good lineup here. He's not running Shaman. He's not running one of the, the decks that has underperformed thus far. He has Druid, Paladin, Warlock, and right now he's down 2-1 facing this Shaman. Can Brarose finish this out? It will be up to the quality of the Shaman deck and the quality of his play. Obviously, Thijs could have a say in that as well if he's able to play this impeccably.
That's spot on here. I wonder how he's going to be dealing with his Trog. Generally, Shield the Minibot is what you want against Shaman. Knife Circle is considered weak, but it just... This is a tough turn though. Does he just go for the Haunted Creeper and let that be it? You could go Haunted Creeper into Secret Keeper Avenge. I think that's probably what I would go for here. But it's painful.
Yeah, it's painful not going for your super combos, obviously with that Knife Juggler into Muster, or, getting the Secret Keeper right on the board. But if you go for the Secret Keeper and the Event, then Brarose can potentially deal with it with that Rockbiter in hand. Or maybe something else that could buff up the Trog, looking from Thijs' point of view. But yeah, it seems like the Creeper is the safest option. Would die to something like an Earthshock, but I think you're kind of fine with getting a Creeper Earthshocked and saving potentially a future minion. But gonna go for the Knife Juggler instead. I imagine this is going to be killed by this Rockbiter. Don't want your Tunnel Trog to be dying for free, essentially. And second Lightning Storm in the hand of Brarose does not feel good.
I don't know. I think it's okay. The thing is, Thijs is playing Secret Paladin, and Brarose is playing the mid-range Shaman. And the mid-range Shaman is the one that's in control in the late game. So you want to be taking this to the late game. So having Assurance is really decent here. I think you should definitely start by attacking with a Trog, and then go for Bran. There's no secret to follow this up, but if he does use the Muster, he gets the Trog for free though. But if he does go for that, there is at least the Storm that will proc without using the Avenge.
Right. That is definitely true. The one problem with having 2 sets of AoEs in hand, and basically the only AoEs in Brarose's deck, is that you're kind of forced to use them early. It's like having 2 Blade Flurries in your hand as a rogue. And in that situation, you're kind of forced, because you don't have other cards in your hand, to use them too early, and that means that you don't have them for the later game. So that could cause some trouble later on for Brarose here. But we will see if he goes for that play right now. Could go for it, and like you said, prevent any event from proccing, but it would overload him next turn. It would prevent the Paladin Shitter, so with that in mind, looks like he's going to go for the Paladin Shitter.
I would have definitely gone for the Storm there, no question. Maybe that's just me, but I mean, you have two storms. When are you going to get two sets of board states that are worth storming?
Right.
I don't know.
I suppose he's looking towards the late game, realizes that one storm could be useful in the near future, but the latter storm will probably have to be used later in the game just because it has to hold on to it the entire time. Kind of treat it like, it's basically a 7-drop or something like that. So yeah, Brarose playing patient, but right now falling behind on board. Let's see if this is finally the turn where he commits to that Lightning Storm, and if he does he attack with the Shredder first and hope that the Lightning Storm kills off the buffed minion?
I think he should, yeah, but this is going to be Avenge
Wow,
and
Redemption.
Redemption. Oof.
Redemption's going to be pretty painful as well. Going to be on
Oh,
the
it gets the Avenge on the Secret Keeper. Wow, okay.
So there still can be a kill on it, but if it doesn't kill it, if it doesn't land the 50-50 here, then it's going to be very painful for Brarose.
It's going to have to be the totem here, I think. You really would want the spell damage totem. The Haunted Creeper isn't bad, though. It's really a close call which one you go for here.
Right, yeah, it looks like he's going to go for the... he's going to wave around that Lightning Storm first to get some extra good fortune here. Does it roll? It still cover the...
It
does get the roll.
Oof, oof.
Gets the 3 on there. Was heart pounding. Thijs is obviously not happy about that.
Thijs gets another mysterious challenger, but nothing for turn 5.
Do you just
one hex and one hex or one
here?
PGH and Thijs could be out of the tournament.
Exactly right. Do you just play the event here, or not the event, the redemption, just to, kind of guarantee that you get the minion on the board? But I guess it's pretty bad here considering that the minion just comes back, or the minion just dies to the second minion of Brarose. But looks like he is gonna commit to it and gonna attack this Dark Peddler so that there isn't a good trade for Brarose.
I mean, it does basically guarantee that there's only one redemption in the deck. I mean, he's already used one of them, so there's nothing lost by not using it right now.
He's gonna allow Thijs to bring back his 1/1, and this is somewhat important for Thijs just to have another minion on the board that can soak up that Avenge potentially, and just in general be annoying as he plays out his first of his 2 mysterious challengers. Healing Totem is pretty huge here actually. Heals up the Dark Peddler. Let's see if he just kills it. Just making it more annoying for his opponent, and does go for the kill. Now what secrets are up? We know that 2 redemptions are down. That's going to be an Avenge, I believe, as well as a Noble Sacrifice, and from there it could be Competitive Spirit or Repentance?
It has to be Repentance. I think Repentance, Avenge, and a Noble Sacrifice.
I guess we just proved that it wasn't Repentance. Sorry
so,
to make you feel bad.
Commanding Spirit, Noble Sac and Avenge. But this is looking really tough now for Thijs. I mean, it could be potentially just lethal. I think Brarose absolutely shouldn't attack. Yeah, that's correct. Now he can't trade into the Dr. Boom. It's competitive, but he can't trade into the Dr. Boom. All right. I think Hawkham will probably be the best possible draw here.
Right. Yeah, it would be pretty good. Noble Sacrifice is quite possibly the worst draw in his deck. He can't even play it here, even if he plays a Mysterious Challenger. So what do? You just go for the second Mysterious Challenger, and I think you actually draw nothing, right? You don't draw a second Competitive Spirit, so
yeah,
you draw nothing. You just play a 6/6. But is that good enough?
You have to go for that, though. Yeah, you have to go for that. I think you have to trade the Dr. Boom where you just risk losing there and there. I mean, one hex, one big game hunter, and it's all over Thijs. So he is just holding for dear life with this mysterious challenger. But overall, though, Brarose is just running away with this game.
Yeah, he's looking...
Is this actually happening?
Yeah, he's looking really good in this game so far. Who would have thought that mid-range Shaman could compete with the Secret Paladin, which has been dominating so much recently? But yeah, it looks like he's going to go for the Shredder. I mean, if you think about it, it has almost as much health overall as the Mysterious Challenger, so it could be just as difficult to deal with. Look, Brarose does have a very good answer for it, though, in that Fire Elemental. However, there's no redemption. So he can just kill this. It will spawn a 4/3/1/1.
I mean, it's most likely going to be a Noble Sacrifice from Brarose's side, but we know that it is a Noble Sacrifice. Depends on where the Avenge lies. But I mean, if it hits the
Would
1-1,
you?
either way, yeah, the fire elemental could be
Oh
really
wow,
strong.
kills it off. Well, it
Or
could get avenged actually, but yeah, now he's going to be able to kill it off regardless with his fire elemental. So that's actually pretty big. And gonna
yeah,
go for this. It's the Shredder's going to die last, so yeah, this bomb's gonna definitely go face. And now he's able to clear this off with his fire elemental, and Thijs is in major trouble right now.
absolutely, yeah. Well, it says 16 health. If we look at the noble sacrifice coming down, he has about 10 damage at least. I don't know.
Wow. Yeah, gonna play out this mysterious challenger. How many secrets is it gonna pull? I think, wow, zero. Zero
Oh.
secrets. Yeah, both Avengers are
Ah,
gone. Tice realizes it as well. Gonna have to just play out this noble sacrifice out of hand. I believe Brarose knows what that is if he's been paying attention. Even gets
get
the
the
hex.
hex! Oh my god.
How much damage do we have though? 6, 7, 8, plus a crackle. Just 6, 7, sorry. Just a 7 on board because of this get down. So, not going to be able to crackle his way to victory. Do you use the Hex here, though? Because are you afraid of some sort of Tyrion? I suppose you wouldn't be, because on 8 mana, Tice would have played the Tyrion rather than the Mysterious Challenger here, especially because it drew no secrets. But Brarose, again, looking almost certain to take this game. And what can he possibly draw here?
Even consecrate doesn't seem to cut it.
Exactly.
Divine favor, maybe.
Well, that's
Kyrie, oh
it's probably
wow!
the best card. It's probably the best card, but it can be dealt with here from Brarose. I imagine he's going to be going for a crackle. Actually, that is guaranteed lethal, isn't it, with the crackle?
Guaranteed lethal,
That
yeah.
is guaranteed
Brarose
lethal.
advances.
Wow. So not even Tyrion is able to save Tice, and Brarose is going to be your second place player, going to be the person who's going to go to the final 8 and the second Chinese qualifier to make it. Congratulations to him, and gotta be so bitter for Tice here.
Dog first place, Braro second place, Thijs third place, Kimmy fourth place. Not what people were expecting. Thijs
Wow.
definitely the favorite into the group now out here. He won 2 of his games, was in first place until the last round, and just falls ever so short here
Wow.
against Braros.
Three-way 2-1 tie. But yeah, Tice is going to fall because of those game scores. Let's recap it for you guys. Dog was his scores were 3-2, 2-3, and 3-1. As we see on the screen there, Dog and Brarose are your people to advance to the final 8. That is going to be happening tomorrow, guys, so definitely don't miss it. And yeah, just continuing. Brarose 2 and 3, 3 and 2, and 3 and 1. So actually the same score as Dog, but Dog did have the head-to-head victory there, so going to be finishing in first. Finally, Tice 3-2, 3-2, 1-3. Just falls short. There's your matchups tomorrow. Firebat versus Jayshaw, Tom versus Brarose, Eloise versus Life Coach, and Dog versus Kalento.